Everyone wants to see big blessings, the miracles, the breakthroughs, the dramatic moments. But what if I told you that some of the greatest blessings from God are the quiet ones, the ones you don't recognize until later, the ones you don't feel but you benefit from, the ones that happen in silence, behind the scenes. Today, let's talk about the blessings God gives that we often overlook. You know, we expect God to move loud, but he often moves quietly. Most people assume blessings have to be dramatic. A new job, a healed body, a huge opportunity, a miracle that everyone can see. But James 1:17 reminds us that every good gift comes from God. Not just the ones that make headlines in your life. No. Truth is, God doesn't always move loudly. Most of his work is done quietly, silently, faithfully, right in the background of your everyday life. Think about how many times you prayed, God, help me. And the answer came in a way you didn't even connect to him. A conversation that turned your day around. A situation that didn't get as bad as it could have. Someone showing up at the right moment. A thought that brought you peace. The strength to hold yourself together. Those were blessings, my friends. You just didn't recognize them as such because God moves quietly, but effectively. One thing we seem to miss is that God protects you from things you never saw. Psalm 121 says, God watches over you day and night, not occasionally, continually. That means God protects you from things you weren't aware of. The wrong turns you didn't take, the relationship that ended for your protection, the job you didn't get that would have drained you, the accident that never happened, the mistake you didn't make because something inside you said, don't. Protection is a blessing, my friend. But because you don't see the danger, you don't recognize the rescue. There are battles God fought for you that you never had to fight. There are doors God closed that would have destroyed your peace. There are people God removed that would have held you back. You don't realize it at the time because blessings in disguise look like disappointment at first. But later, sometimes much later, you begin to understand that God strengthens you without noticing. One of the biggest overlooked blessings is spiritual strength. Lamentations 3:23 says, God gives new mercies every morning. Not every year, not every season, but every morning. That means God is giving you strength without you even being aware of it. You didn't wake up today by accident. You didn't overcome what you overcame by luck. You didn't survive what you survived because you're just tough. God was strengthening you when you were tired. God was lifting you when you felt weak. God was giving you courage when you wanted to quit. God was renewing your mind when you felt drained. The biggest signs of God's presence are often invisible. The fact that you're growing, that's a blessing. The fact that you're changing, that's a blessing. The fact that you're more mature today than what you were last year, that's a blessing. The fact that what used to break you doesn't break you anymore, that's a blessing. Growth, my friends, is a blessing that people overlook because they don't realize how much God did inside them. We often or rarely remember that God's peace is one of the greatest quiet blessings. Philippians 4:7 talks about a peace that guards your heart and your mind. Peace doesn't get enough credit though. When you're in chaos and suddenly a calm comes over you, that's God. When you're worried and you feel this unexpected wave of reassurance, that's God. When your mind wants to spiral, but something pulls you back into stability, that's God. Peace doesn't make noise, y'all. It just shows up. And it carries you through moments that should have broken you. Peace is one of the most powerful blessings because it gives you the strength to keep walking through places that used to make you fall apart. Don't overlook peace. Some people would trade everything they have just to feel what God has placed in your heart. Did you know that gratitude opens your eyes to what God has been doing? Sometimes the blessings aren't new at all. You're just seeing them for the first time. When you begin to say, God, open my eyes, you realize you survived things that weren't supposed to leave you standing. You healed from things that hurt you. You walked through storms that once terrified you. You grew in ways you didn't expect. You became stronger than your past. You matured beyond old habits. You found joy again. You found peace again. You found hope again. All of that, my beautiful friends, are blessings. God has been working nonstop. You just didn't notice every moment. Thankfulness doesn't create blessings, though. It reveals the ones that were already there. Friends, brothers and sisters in Christ, God is blessing you more than you realize. Not just in the dramatic moment, but in the quiet ones. In the strength you didn't know you had. In the peace that showed up unexpectedly. In the protection you didn't see. In the lessons that shaped you. In the kindness of others. In the closed doors. In the growth. In the survival. God's blessings are not always loud, but they are always real. Thank you for your time, and may the Almighty open your eyes to every quiet blessing, every small miracle, and every gentle mercy in your life. May He give you a grateful heart, a peaceful spirit, and a deep awareness that His hand has been guiding you all along. Walk today in clarity, gratitude, and confidence that God is at work in the detail. Stay steadfast, stay faithful, and let Christ shine.